Ronan McCarthy takes on Oly Bale. Nick Finn alongside me in the commentary box for this one. Obviously, you know both of these players well, Nick. It's not necessarily the quarter-final we'd have picked, but Oly had a good run in the first event. Obviously, good form coming into this.
Yeah, for sure. A very solid win against Jordan Shepherd in his previous match in the last 16. I think he won 7-3. And looking value. As you say, he's had one deep run earlier in the season. So on the grand scheme of things, looking back over the last few years, it's been a pretty good season for Oly. Comes up against, obviously, a very, very tough opponent here in Ronan McCarthy. And we did see Oly play on Friday. He wasn't at his best. He's probably going to have to lift his standard, which I assume he has, you know, beating Jordan Shepherd in the previous round. You would imagine that he's suddenly hit a bit of form, which can often happen. You know, Oly, he's not one of the younger players in the well, I mean, neither are, to be honest, are they? They're both in their 50s now. I mean, I can say that quite easily because so am I. But
so we've got a lot of experience all round there.
Yeah.
On the table and in the commentary box.
Yeah. I mean, if you think Oly was probably at his peak round about 2000, mid 2000s, 2005, 6, 7. I think he won his European Championship 2007, but he's always been there and thereabouts, hasn't he?
It's been an absolutely mad run, hasn't it? He might have been forgiven, and I think he might have said the same, thinking that his best form had come a few years ago. That phase in 2022 when he won his first world title, also won a pro event, the Players' Championship on Ultimate Pool, won a few other events at the same time. It was just like he just couldn't lose for a few months. And then you thought, yeah, maybe that was the moment, and then comes back this year and wins the second world title in 3 years.
Absolutely. For sure, one of the goats of the game. Hard to pick a top 5 and not have Ronan McCarthy up there somewhere. He really is a special player. And yeah, I mean, there's talk of him retiring, talk of him, you know, this being his last season. And what a shame that would be. But, I mean, what a way to go out as world champion. There can't be many people that can say that they've retired as world champion, if ever.
Yeah, it's so hard to judge it right in any sport, isn't it? Knowing when's the right point to quit. I've talked to him about it in passing a couple of times. You sort of get the sense he doesn't really want to, sort of thinking, is it the right thing to do, but doesn't really want to. I sort of feel like we might see a bit more of him here. I think the thing that you probably don't miss is the travelling around and the stuff that goes with it. I think the actual competing, you never really lose the desire for.
Yeah, and he's got a young family as well. I think he's got a young daughter, so I mean, it is hard being away as much as these guys are. Yeah, we were talking to Jordan Shepherd last night on comms, and he was saying that, you know, he got back from China on Sunday, and he's up here this weekend, and he's going back to China on Tuesday. It's just a crazy schedule.
Yeah, I think that bit for the players that are travelling a lot to China. Arfan was saying the same in the interview after his last match, considering his plans for next year. Not the best shot here from Oly. Didn't want to be hampered.
Yeah, can't do too much with the cue ball here, so you just have to take his medicine and take this yellow long. And he actually wanted, he would have liked to have been right behind it, just to cue it straight up the rail. Much harder when you've got this angle.
Yeah, I mean, this is very low percentage. If you're right in behind it, it's a difficult but makeable shot. This is an absolute Hail Mary from where he is, especially to try and get out for the other yellow.
No.
Never anywhere near. That was tough, though, from where he was playing it. What Ronan McCarthy has always been so good at is playing the right shot. He's not a guy that you want to pot your first 5 balls and then leave him to mess you around for a while. Oly's going to find out the hard way. This could be a painful process, although at least from Oly's point of view, he's at least got the 2 yellows in open play, so it's given Ronan something to think about.
Yeah, it's a fairly open table for Ronan, and he's a player that could torture you for a while, but I think he gets out here just really depended on that shot, whether he lands on something. He will always play the percentages. If he's got, you know, a shot that he feels is 40% makeable, or he's got a safety which is going to give him a bigger edge, then he's always going to take the safety. Very much a percentage player. Very clever player as well. Great tactician.
Potter as well, based on that. This game isn't really about the big pots generally, it's about keeping control. That was obviously the right shot positionally, because it opened up the ball that he's now about to play.
Yeah, there's never anything too extravagant about his game. I mean, he's got a cue action. He wouldn't necessarily coach anybody. I mean, it's a little bit jabby, a little bit stabby. I mean, it's very effective for him, but it's a little bit hybrid, and you know, the way he plays doesn't lend itself to having huge cue power. It doesn't have much of a pause, if any at all, at the top of the backswing. He relies much more on cue ball control. Very rarely see him play those kind of big Sean Chipperfield extravagant power shots. He's got it in the locker if he needs it, but he rarely does.
Other players, of course, hoping to sign off the Pro Series for 2024 with a little run in the last event. This match will play the winner of the quarter-final we've just seen, Van Dad lying in wait. And Van played well in that match. It was a match where it'd be very easy to summarise it as Scott Gillespie making a few mistakes and giving away ball in hand all over the place, but actually Van wasn't being left particularly easy chances. He had to make a lot of them. So whichever of these two players gets through, they're going to be in for a tough challenge in the semi-final.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't mean this disrespectfully to any of these three players, but I think Arthur will be looking at this draw, and both of these guys will be looking at the other draw and thinking, do you know what, I've got a chance here to get through to the final.
Oly Bale spotted a couple of reds in that pocket, and you can see that because they're still there. So the referee's going to free that up. Two balls going in at pace and getting wedged in the pocket. So yellow's his choice, but no attacking option available here, so just going to have to choose his colour set and then play the safety. Always wears his heart on his sleeve, Oly Bale. Lets you know what he's thinking. Been a pro since the beginning of Ultimate Pool. He's had some runs in that time, but it's been a relatively quiet last couple of seasons.
Ronan left. A little tempter there for Oly. Oly not falling for the bait. I think if Oly was 3-4-0 up, he might have taken a chance there to cannon off the yellow he just played and try and put the other one into the bottom left pocket and try and open everything up in a one shot. But he does have that ball tied up on the top left red as well. But this kind of frame is going to suit Ronan more than it is Oly. Not that Oly can't play the tactical side of the game, but Ronan's just an old master. He's like a chess master, moving the pieces. You see that shot there, just pushing that red across the face of the 8 ball. Just looks like a bit of a nothing shot, but it causes Oly much more of a headache. So if Oly does have that, sudden burst where he starts developing balls and gets to the end of it and he's still got a problem with the 8. And also the other thing that red does, it gives Ronan a ball to be able to break out this other red on the side cushion. So it's a clever shot. Always thinking. Oly looking like he is going to pull the trigger here. He's going to play the double. And the yellow on the left-hand side and try and leave an angle to develop these balls. Gets the double. He's got an angle here, but this is a big shot. Because if he doesn't make the pot, he opens up everything for Ronan. Well, he's actually been a little bit fortunate. Because it worked out for him because aside from obviously not making the pot, but he left himself on the yellow, developed both of the yellows actually, and left the red tied up.
On a different day, the yellow moves out of the way and Ronan's nicely on the red and it's all over. Is he going to be tempted by any attacking options here? Quite helpful to move this ball that he's playing now because that would have been a bit inaccessible otherwise. Well, to play it as a kind of shot to nothing.
Yeah.
Not the best result actually because he's now got those 2 reds tied up. Which just gives Oly that little bit of extra grace to go off to something.
Oly's got similar here. He can play this as a shot to nothing.
Well, he's also had second prize because if that yellow's not there, he leaves the red and the angle to break the other one out. This player's getting... Well, I guess Oly's had the better of the luck in these last 2 shots.
I think he's going to be tucked up behind those 2 reds after the next shot. Depending whether Ronan can find the line.
He plays off the one that's on the cushion. He just goes on the double kiss and ping the white into the pocket.
Yeah.
He's played that well.
Yeah, super shot. Especially playing at that pace.
Would love to have been able to split those 2 reds up, but there was no way he wanted to risk playing it hard enough to do that off that shot. So, the Oly Bale magic, you'll see a few Showman shots come out.
Now you see the benefit for Ronan putting that red in behind the 8 ball earlier. He's got that as his opening ball with an angle to break out the other one. He may not, just because he's still got those 2 reds tied up at the top of the table. He may just want to open those up before. Yeah, he's having another look at it now. He's going to try and open those 2 reds up before he decides to attack. A lot of players would have maybe pulled the trigger there, thinking, I've got a breakout ball at the bottom of the table, I've got another at the top of the table. Super patience. Here we go again. Masse. No, didn't get anything on that at all.
Not sure too many other players at the similar situation would have been playing that as a masse, but nice to see. I mean that sincerely, that's going to sound sarcastic, but it is nice to see he does play some entertaining shots, which is why people like watching him.
Yeah.
Where's this cue ball going?
Oh, goodness me. That's very unlucky. I mean, he does so much of the hard work to work out this frame. Such a clever frame from Ronan Mccarthy, and then just gets that little double kiss, which pushes the cue ball into the pocket.
He didn't know quite where the white was going, but to end up in the middle pocket is very unfortunate.
Wow. That's got away from Oly. Meant to cannon those balls full ball, and he's glanced them, and he's left himself absolutely horribly. I mean, this one down the rail is hard enough, but from this distance. No.
Well, this has been a pretty slow start to the match. Only 15 minutes played, just one frame all. There's always the potential for this kind of game. Although equally, we saw from Ronan's World Championship win, there's also the potential for breaking dish after breaking dish if he finds his rhythm. Just how the balls have turned out so far.
In behind he goes again. The torture continues. I mean, how many players pull the trigger there? I reckon 90% of the field. Ronan McCarthy having none of it. No thank you. I'll do it with ball in hand, thanks very much.
Only not a fan of playing out of sneakers off cushions. It's the third masse in this frame. So this time, surely no problem for Ronan. Last time he came to the table with ball in hand, he did have one cluster, which is how he ended up going in off. This time, put the cue ball behind the most difficult of the four balls. Should be plain sailing from here. Oly hasn't had his chances in this frame. It's kind of the way he plays though. His frames where he has chances and doesn't take them, and he has others where you expect him to win and he pulls out the miracle. That's why he is so much fun to watch. Service resumed for Ronan. No mistake with these balls. Well, a frame that could have gone pretty much anywhere, swung back and forth, but it is the man from Northern Ireland, Ronan McCarthy, who opens up a lead.
Anyone who's ever tried a pint of cheddar Valley cider will know exactly what I'm talking about. Just like orange squash. And it knocks you sideways. Super break. Could have had an easier opener. And probably would like to be on reds, but definitely can't go reds. Has to go yellows. And 3 of the yellows are tied up. I think possibly these 2 down to the bottom left. If he's around about where the 8 ball is, I think he may be able to get to the potting angle and knock the other one out. He's still got this one just on the bulk line that he needs to think about. And I just wonder whether he was just trying to get either a little bit lower or a bit further around to try and leave an angle. He won't want to leave that until late. The ball that is just below the yellow now is the obvious ball to break that yellow out. He doesn't have anything else, so much so that he's looking at it now and eyeing the double. No, the double's not on. This must be a safety. No way that double was on. The other yellow's in the way of it.
We talked earlier about playing the percentages. That's an example. Also, there's some element of having to play the player. I think if you're playing a different opponent where you're not sure you're going to get another chance, it's not the right way to play. But Oly has been a little bit profligate early on in this match, so Ronan's probably figuring he might get a better go at these. Good reply from Oly. Looking like another frame that could take a bit of time. Not far off the 20-minute mark in this match. 3 frames completed.
Who's left an opening. Just trying to screw that cue ball back up towards the top cushion. It's going to be very hard to get that safe. Oly's just landed a bit too close to the cushion here. He was looking to leave an angle on the one through the gap of the red and the 8 to screw back into the yellow and release his problem ball. But I think he's got the angle, but it's just too close to the cushion. If he jacks up, it makes his shot very much harder. Yeah, so he's just going to take the medicine. Used every part of the pocket. Does this go low? It certainly does. Didn't think he could get to the potting angle of that one, but well worked out. And a good pot. Just finished a touch straight on this, so he's really going to have to punch. Yeah, he would have liked to have had a bit more angle, and then you could just come up the left side of the 8 ball and leave it to middle, or even stun out to the right hand side and leave it to opposite middle, but didn't have enough angle. Now, I don't think the 8 ball goes to either bottom corner pocket, so he's going to have to. Oh, this is a good clearance. And the cue ball's not exactly been on the string, but he's played so many good recovery shots. A couple of really good pots in amongst. That's really good from Oly.
Very entertaining clearance in the end.
Yeah.
Well, there's a clout, and he has found a ball.
The cue ball just comes around the back of the yellows, sits in behind the pack, and lands horribly. I mean, you look at this table and say, you cannot fail to be on something, surely. If you showed someone that layout and said, this is after the break, where's the only place on the table that you can't pot a ball from? And that's probably one of the only places. Yeah, it's a decent shot from Oly, just trying to set the bait for Ronan. Ronan not taking it. Both players want to be red. Very important to get onto reds here.
Not bad. The ball on the left-hand side is a plant of sorts, but because the ball over the top left-hand corner is so far to that right jaw, it's not actually a very attractive shot.
Yeah, too low percentage, I think. The only way I see Ronan going for it is if he can't find a safety, and he could.
Would potentially be a viable shot to play this as a loss of turn if he plays yellow onto the red, because then he'd move the red that he might otherwise be at risk of leaving over the middle pocket, screw the cue ball back.
Yeah. Only tempted by something here.
Yeah, he really fancies going for a pot, doesn't he?
He's just tempted, and that's why Ronan will just keep trying to almost lay that bait, because Oly's way more likely to take it than he is. No. Oh, he's left the red to middle. It's a little bit careless. He seemed to play it quite quickly as well, whether just seemed a tad careless. Ronan all he's going to do here is just develop this red. No interest in attacking from here until all the chess pieces are out in play. He's just tried to run that ball out and cover the path to the yellow. He's left a pot there for Oly, but really not much to go out here as long as he's got control of that top left pocket. Oly needs to try and find or manufacture some kind of loss of turn shot here to take control. It's nice, just pushes that red to the bottom cushion, but another ball at the top of the table. Not so important in this rule set to have control of a pocket. We'll see in some other rule sets it's the key to the frame, but here that advantage can easily be turned around. And I think Oly now has to play a loss of turn and just try and mix things up at the top of the table with this yellow.
It feels like a game that's going to play more into Ronan's hands than into Oly's. Although Oly is a very experienced player, he's known for the sort of showman shots, but actually he knows well enough what he's doing in this kind of position. Slow pace of play continues, not in the sense the player's necessarily taking too much time to play individual shots, but just the game has got bogged down. Right now we're on track to one of the lowest scores we've seen in the Pro Series. Over half the match played. In terms of time, only 4 frames down.
Oly trying to pot that yellow to middle, screw back, pop the red in the same shot. Just didn't catch it full enough. Probably just push one of these yellows on top of the red, on the top cushion. I think it may be the loss of turn around the other side. Yeah, I mean it's another ball that's hampered, but they're all there now for reds. Just one ball to develop.
That's the thing about percentage play. You play a way to open up a chance, but then when the chance presents, you've got to focus on taking it. This rule set, the best you ever get is ball in hand. You never get multiple visits, so you're always at some stage going to have to go for the clearance.
It's not the greatest shot he's ever played. Might be okay. He was trying to land on the red. He was trying to hit the red full ball, I think, and he caught the yellow on the way past. He was set on that. Red to top left. A little grimace. I think he's okay. The red next to the yellow.
He's just a bit stuck, isn't he, between? Because if he takes the top one, then he brings those 2 yellows into play, and it's hard to leave a good angle on the bottom one.
Yeah.
If he takes the bottom one, it's hard to get back for the top one.
I think he can screw straight back. He'll leave a little bit of an angle, but yeah, just screw straight back, and now probably is just going to cannon onto the yellow and leave himself the long red. You've got to fancy him from here.
Yeah, he played that last shot well. It would have been very easy to bring that yellow into play. He was just able to screw past it. He may just be able to screw past the 2 yellows. quite, but that's fine. It's a natural angle he was going to leave himself. Nothing really to think about here, just focus on the pot.
2 tactical frames in the match so far. Both of them look like they're going to go the way of Ronan McCarthy, although he's just finished a little awkward on this 8 ball. I think he's still absolutely fine there. Fully expect him to get this. Yep. Yeah, as I say, a couple of tactical frames and they've both gone Ronan's way.
So his 4th match, he's going to be hoping there's 2 more after this.
Now, would I be right in thinking there was 20 years between Carl Morris's and Ronan McCarthy's World Championships? 2002, 2022, is that right? Was Carl 2002?
2000.
Was he 2000? So 22 years between them. And he was the youngest ever world champion?
Yeah.
Would Ronan have been the oldest?
Yeah. So they bookend those records.
Yeah, 22 years between them, and one being the youngest, Carl Morris, and he was 21, 22 years old, I think.
Yeah, incredible really, because Carl's a few years younger than Ronan and won his world title 22 years before him. Well, and 24 years between Ronan's second one and Carl's first one. Just shows how difficult it is to win those world titles, both the fact that Ronan hadn't won one before and the fact that Carl hasn't won another one since. That world title this summer was won at this venue. World Championships held in Blackpool, immediately following Series 5 and 6 back in June time. I think one key factor in that World Championship win was that Ronan was playing so much pool that week. He was playing for Northern Ireland in the team event, and we just had the 2 pro events beforehand. It's probably, understandably so, with the young family and other commitments, less of a practicer than a lot of the younger players, but by the time he played that many matches, he was obviously as warmed up as anyone.
I think he was just trusting a little bit of luck on that positional shot. It had been difficult to not land on anything, but I think it was in the plan to get quite as close to that bottom left pocket as he did. He rattled the jaws. He's landed on this yellow to bottom right. He's also got the option of the one at the top of the table, the top left, but he's choosing this one. And now he's back in prime. Pretty sure the 8 ball passes the red to right centre, so this should be a formality from here for a 2-frame lead.
And it's a lead he'd like to open up, because it probably has looked the steadier of the 2 players. If he was to get to 3-all with only 15 or 16 minutes remaining, it's turning the whole match into a fairly unpredictable outcome. Well, probably just need to open the 8 ball up. It's turned out okay. For a moment it looked like he was going to get stuck a bit awkwardly by this red, but can get through to the middle of the cue ball, which makes the positional shot easier. And now the fact that red's there is helpful. We can pop the yellow left centre, just screw into the red to hold position. Good clearance from Ronan McCarthy. 2 ahead now. So Oly Bale 2 frames behind, steps up to break in frame 7. Well, he's hit that firmly and he's got the balls moving, but to no avail. All he's done is hand over a pretty open table. It's not a table without anything to think about though. It's the 2 balls above the right hand centre, the one in the round and the one next to the yellow, don't have natural pockets. Good look at yellows. He's just got a one ball tied up if he goes that route. And having been pretty pinpoint with his position in the previous frame, he's just ended up overdoing that a fraction. He's playing for the balls at the top of the table, but that's not going to work now, so he's going to have to come downstairs next. Much more difficult pot, which is why it's gone missing. So, chance for Oly Bale to get himself back into this match. He's still got the problem with the two reds above the right centre. Doesn't need to rush in the sense that there's plenty of time left on the match clock, but we know he's not somebody to hang around. Good double, keeps the break going. That shows how quickly he can turn it around. After that first shot, it looked like he played a loose position and didn't really have a whole lot to go at. That one double, he's moved the two difficult balls on the table. Having done that, now back out of position again. It's the constant roller coaster, isn't it, when you watch Oly? He's in and out of position all over the place.
Incidentally, Mark, I just got a text message, and we've both been corrected. It wasn't 2002, it wasn't 2000, it was 1998 that...
it was, you're right.
Yeah.
No, you are absolutely right.
Absolutely.
It was, Jason Twister who won in 2000 2002, wasn't it?
It kind of all... I used to be able to remember pretty much every world champion from every year, but I just seem to have lost it. I'm getting too old for it, I think. It's all gone. But, David Solomon messaged me, and so credit to him. Well done, sir. Beat Keith Brewer in the final.
Yeah, Keith Brewer, seen by many from that era as being the best never to win a world title. We thought when he lost in that final in '98 that he'd have more chances, but there's a good crop of players coming through. Jason Twist, who won in 2000 and 2002. Chris Melling in between those, 01 and 03. And the first of many titles for Mick Hill the following year. I'd like to think we got the second part of the question right there, because my memory's failing me on the two Ronan Mccarthy ones. We've got bigger problems, given that the second one was this year.
Absolutely. Another one of those tactical exchanges. I think that red will pot off the yellow. So who's got a chance here? Oh, it doesn't drop. Desperately needed that to drop. His frame was at his mercy. If it does, he's handed the advantage to Ronan.
Well, that's not going to help.
Now, he was looking for a cannon. I think he's just gone straight through the gap and pushed one of his yellows onto the side cushion. That's going to cause him a problem later in this frame. I think he was trying to leave an angle to go up and attack that yellow up on the top left side. Just got the cannon wrong. Now, instead of having one ball to develop, he's doubled the headache. Lots of turn. Again, just popping that bait out. And again, Oly Bale obliges. In fairness, he wasn't playing that as an out-and-out attacking shot. He's played the back double, but he was trying to get some cover across this bottom right pocket. Just not quite hit it hard enough. Just needs that to travel. Has it got there? Needed another couple of inches of pace to make this easier. That's pretty good. That's as good as he could have done.
It's been steady, this, hasn't it? He's had a couple of shots in this visit. Just about to hit the chime for the last 10 minutes of the match. Which means that we're dropping down to a 15-second shot clock for the remainder of this game. So nice taking a lead into those last 10 minutes. Which means that if there is a scrappy frame, you're not having to chase anything, you're just happy to stick in it, whereas Oly Bale is going to have to chase down a 3-frame deficit after this 8 ball. And the 8 ball down. Ronan McCarthy opens up a lead. It's 5-2.
Oly's not done too much wrong, to be honest. Okay, there's a couple of missed pots in there, but not done a massive amount wrong. And here he is with a chance to get back within 2 frames. And this is a very, very important clearance. Has to take this, otherwise you feel the match has escaped him.
Yeah, if you just find a quick clearance here and maybe 2 frames behind, that's not too bad. It's not great, obviously, but in with a shout. If he wants to let this one slip for 4 frames, it's going to be a very tough ask in the time that will be remaining. Ooh.
It's just those careless little shots that so often cost him. Good recovery.
Yes, I mean, because he does it quite often, he's quite good at the recovery shots.
Yeah. He did it in the previous frame he won as well. Well, that's just what the doctor ordered. A really quick one from Oly Bale, and against the serve as well, which is even more important. He gets back within 2 frames and will break. Get this. Oh, surely that can't be dry. I mean, watch this ball down in the bottom right-hand side. If we get the replay. Bottom left pocket. Top right, as you look at it, that ball just rattles. There's one that rattles the jaws of the top left.
How decisive a factor could that be? If Ronan can get in here, the game is going to be all but over. Located quite nicely. Take the 2 at the top of the table, work his way down. Just going to screw past that, but obviously felt like he couldn't quite get past it, so decided to commit to the cannon. say, a creative shot in the end. He ended up off angle there. Didn't really serve him just to pot it straight, so he ended up playing a much more difficult double. He was trying to make sure he got the right angle on this ball. He's going to have to just push it onto the far jaw. He can just borrow enough of the pocket to make the angle he needs. From what should have been a very routine finish a couple of shots ago, he's had to play a couple of shots to get himself back into it, but he's recovered it well.
Yeah, that's a good reply from Ronan. Exactly what he needed after that quick rally from Oly Bale. But Oly will be annoyed to get a dry break there. Is such bad timing for him. He would have just felt, you know, if he can get that one, get across the line, then he is very much in this game. Really does put the pressure on Ronan. But now with the 3-frame advantage, you feel much of the hard work's done. I mean, there's time on the clock for 3 frames, but you know, he needs 3 chances. If Ronan makes a ball, which he does, then, I mean, we already saw him when he took the 8 ball a second ago, just killing the extra 10 seconds off the clock. And he'll be doing the same here. He will be in no rush whatsoever.
Yeah, this is all done now because he doesn't actually have to make the clearance. He could waste a minute or so just passing the loose balls. You can see it's under no hurry whatsoever to hit this ball until we get down to a couple of seconds left.
That's about as long as you'll ever see Ronan McCarthy down on a shot. He was just waiting for the beeps.
It's the right thing to do, just to make sure. It's very hard to see any route back for Oly, but there's no point getting yourself into a winning position and opening the door to some miracle outcome for your opponent.
I mean, actually, this has come out as a really simple clearance from here, so I don't think he's... Well, he's still going to take the time. I think this one is done.
So just the simple stuff to do now for Ronan McCarthy. Fun to fight in this match, but he has had the better of his opponent for the most part of it.
I think it's been a really, really good and clever performance from Ronan McCarthy. Very, very deserving of the win. It's another deep run for Oly Bale, and he can take a lot of heart from that going into next season. That's a couple of good runs he's had this year. Hasn't managed to lift the trophy yet, but as I say, just keep knocking on the door. Maybe one day.
Moments from Oly Bale and some quality moments from Ronan McCarthy. He books his place in the semi-final. Our fan dad lies in wait for him.